All right, y'all. Welcome to your Magic Moon message. This is your host, the Peace Dealer. Um, oh my goodness. Huh. Congratulations, yo. We're nearing the end of this transit. By tomorrow, once we actually enact this 240-degree angle, it'll be at the sun 28-degree position. This first core of the I Told You So tour, for those of you aligned with the integrity of your beliefs and authenticity, I know I've been silently enjoying this. I hope this is extended to you too. Beautiful. Literally chef's kiss. And whereas the second core Scorpio season and the third core Sag is going to be a lot more dramatic and wild, this first balance, I do appreciate Libra season being chill and balanced. It's that part of the court case that you don't see publicized really on TV. I mean, it could be, but like no one's checking for the discovery phase. Like the beginning part, like it was a very important facet, and it was for you to settle your affairs and get them in order. For me, what that looked like was once again changing my political status and my citizenship status, which is now like it was literally and I told you so, but to the government, and not in like a bad way where it's like I hate the government. It's like we're making agreements together so we can change the way we partner, right? South Node Libra, but towards the North Node Aries representation. I'm just saying this as an example. Of course, you have also followed suit, irrespective in your relationships. But I mean, just that one action alone is getting ready to transform a lot for me. And don't worry, I will make a webinar putting all the relevant information together with freaking wizard and master of this. Shout out to King Mitchell. So we'll get that, compiled for you. But yeah, that being said, this was so very important as far as establishing 6+ months worth of integrating a brand new version of your character. By this time next year, Jupiter is going to be in Cancer, and we will start integrating evolution you have activated since 2022, 2023. And I am referencing Jupiter that was in Aries 2023, and we had the activation of that cycle in April. Ooh, I'm smelling this wild wing. I might have to go get some wings. But like, yeah, yo. So this is balance. This is rectification. For those of you who want to see the breakthrough of results, that's Sagittarius season. You have up until then taken action, breakthrough action. Okay. The rest of basically this month coming into the next Scorpio season is going to intensify deeper, of course, with greater depth, more psychoanalytical awareness and understanding of what you are currently transforming. That's going to bring us into ascension, where we break through in wild ass Sagittarius, which I really will feel is the climax of this year, if the elections themselves aren't the climax in November. Throughout Halloween, right? Like everything moving forward is getting ready to be fucking nuts. So that's why you had to take this past 3 weeks to establish your personal sense of balance. Oh, wow. I was using scissors and the back of the scissors kind of. But like, yeah, you have to establish this balance so that when things go literally off the wall, shit crazy, balls to the wall, you already have the actions you have established, the receipts through your behavior you have shared, so that that is the behavior you will apply to these situations, which presupposes throughout this Libra season, you've established your character in ways that really, express the merit, the power, the quality, right? Because all these things will now further be tested when we are breaking through and expressing throughout the rest of this year, and how it is you respond and approach these situations. All right, so I just want to get that out the way first. The fact that you're alive right now, the fact that you've made it here, you know what I'm saying? The fact that you're in a position to really establish this sense of balance is definitely very significant, because you have officially finished the first part of the I Told You So tour part 2. Very significant, because unlike last year where the burden of proof was on us, well, we succeeded with fulfilling that burden of proof. So now this year, the burden of proof is on anyone who has any issues with what you're establishing, declaring, and they don't have much time. We almost in a Scorpio season. So at this stage, this moon in Gemini by 28 degrees is going to begin its 240 degree Sagittarius harvest through the end of moon in Gemini. That means through moon in Cancer is where we're going to see a majority of this Sagittarius signature. Then the sun is going to enter Scorpio over the next 4 days, and we'll have the Capricorn signature when the moon is in Leo. All right, which is going to kick off Scorpio season dramatic as fuck. Okay, just letting you know that right now. The moon's going to be opposite Pluto. In fact, as of now, which is the most important part over the next 3 days, the sun is going to be making a 270 degree completion Capricorn signature angle to Pluto in Capricorn that we had initially activated January 19th, 2024. This is the beautiful part of this part 1. And this is the chef's kiss, because now, and that's the chill part of Libra. Libra is diplomatic, it's classy. It's not Aries that's like, oh, fuck you, this, that. You know what I mean? Well, shout out to Aries, because sometimes you do need to turn up. Libra is just matter of fact. It's diplomatic, it's straight, it's classy. You know what I mean? Like, we didn't have to argue. Based on the actions you've taken, everything that has been said against you, against your merit, against your character, you have demonstrated throughout all Libra season how all that was bullshit. How you actually always knew what you were talking about, how you actually have integrity in what you're doing and saying. And a lot of this was handled through your actions, so you didn't really have to say anything. By this point here now, post the full moon, it's important to establish that that's what has been established. That's what has been accomplished. You're seeing this in your relationships with other people. You know what I mean? A lot of things you've accomplished or done pretty much presuppose and confirm, claims you've made. They have been silently or loudly debunking lies said about you, or just, ideas or perspectives around you that were never true. This is a very important feeling for you to come into, that you're going to feel very powerfully when the moon is in Cancer, but will also really represent with this Pluto square the completion of that previous awakening you activated at the final degree of Capricorn, all right, January 19th. So over the next couple of days, we're ending Libra season with you completing that sense of awakening. And because you are so right with this logical disposition, you know what I mean, of moving right, of taking proper balanced action, that's what's going to bring about that shadow of Aries, 7th house Aries to Libra, the Chiron in Aries, where when people realize that they can't really debunk your argument, or they can't really say anything against the truth of what you're saying, they're just going to attack your character. They're just going to get angry, which is their white flag and letting you know that, hey, they really know what they're saying. So this is everything you're going to intensify moving forward. It's just you're facing this immature, reaction on a societal collective level, where now it's a whole bunch of people kind of expressing that low level of intelligence or just immaturity, because they're not really like that. And this Libra season, you proved you're like that with your actions alone. Okay, so this is what you're going to intensify during Scorpio season. And the reason, once again, why that's so significant is all this coinciding is getting ready to break you through into the final part of this harvest in very extreme and intense fashion. So that's what brings us back to the moon in Gemini. We had the moon in Aries near the end of the last 10 degrees. We had the moon in Taurus kicking off the 210 degree. So the majority of this moon in Gemini transit is still going to be breaking through that Scorpio signature. You're going to, by the end of 28 degrees Gemini moon, 28 degrees Libra sun, come into the beginning of a true understanding of these new superpowers you've unlocked. But because it's a Sagittarius signature, you are understanding the true meaning of who this social persona and character you've unlocked is meant to be, what you can now intellectually wrap your thinking around you can do. And before we come into the end of those degrees, as we go through Jupiter, this is going to transform this intellectual understanding of how your vocabulary around what it is you're stepping into is not only evolving and leveling up, but how you will now see into the meaning of what direction to move forward in. Why is this important? Because everything this moon in Gemini really continues to enlighten for you is going to now shift and adjust the perspective that when the moon goes into Cancer, you'll move into. And when the moon goes into Cancer, majority of that transit is going to be a Sagittarius signature, breaking you through finally into the feeling of what to do with this new character. Before we step into the moon in Leo, and then that's the spiciness and the sauce, and you're strengthening more the wisdom and disposition around how you strengthen the actions you've made with this character, and now over the next 30 days completely transform a lot. So once again, like, you have people in denial. You may have been dealing with people who, it doesn't matter how much proof or evidence you show, they're stubborn towards that. That's the purpose of the last day of the season. They're in for a rude awakening, right? You never necessarily, truth doesn't need a defense. So you never necessarily had to be that person trying to make sure they get it. You've already established what principles you stand on. And this is going to furthermore bring more instances where these realizations by others are had in the silence of your actions that you've already done. There's going to be more cases of people regretting not listening to what you were saying. Not that, oh, I told you so, but this is the I told you so fucking tour. So like, yeah, it is I told you so. But the reason why that's key is the reluctance for many people to admit they're wrong and their pride may make it so that most of this won't be out in the open. So the fact that with Neptune and Pisces, it's indirectly going to be shown to you anyway, maybe because they snitch on themselves or don't realize that they're kind of showing that without showing that, it's going to be very rewarding and more rewarding moving forward, as this will prepare to ether and completely transform anything outside of your awareness that's not even really worth it for real or really aligned with where you're going. So yeah, something to keep in mind. The moon, of course, will square Saturn and Neptune, which will give you more words and intellectual understanding around your imagination and metaphysical principles, unseen dynamics that you can now put words to as it applies to this unlocking of your super self and character. You're coming into literally a true understanding of how everything is getting ready to transform for you and change. And it's a good feeling. The feeling, of course, with which when the moon goes into Cancer, we'll explore more. And that's going to bring us into the square with the sun and Pluto. So just prepare to complete this harvest of breakthrough that we began the beginning of Leo season when the sun was opposite Pluto. And you're going to continue to see the destruction of those who have had a vested interest in seeing and treating you like you're less than you are. Where you're learning you don't have to lift a finger in order to deal with fodder. Your spirit team already takes care of them. And this is going to break you more away of that old status quo and tradition that was really based on bullshit. Like Saturn in Pisces is teaching everyone. Everyone's experiencing everything now because it's all their fault. they led to this, and everything that people have been doing for the past 30 years has been for nothing. So if some of you feel kind of, you know, like, is it worth doing? We're gonna step into the new cycle and you'll see how you kind of broke through that. Peace.